Yo, 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 this is Jason at Grand Slam Sports Cards and Comics. Welcome back to another installment of the Comics Month in Preview. In this episode, we'll be talking about the new titles heading to the shelf in the month of March 2021. We hope this video will inform you about new titles coming out and to let your LCS know what books you would like to have added to your hold file. So let's get down to business. DC Comics is coming off of a 2-month event called Future State. Now, we are moving into a new era called Infinite Frontier. At the end of Death Metal, we have learned that there are now infinite multiverses. In order to kick off this new era, there is a new book called Infinite Frontier Issue 0, which is a 64-page book that previews a lot of what is going on in this new era for DC Comic Books. This is a can't-miss book, not only for readers, but also for collectors. This will feature stories from Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and it's also going to feature the return of Stargirl, who is very popular on her new television series. Infinite Frontier will bring back the legacy numbering for normal titles such as Batman, Superman, Flash, Wonder Woman, but we will also be getting several new titles. For the Batman universe fans, we have a new book called Batman Urban Legends. Chip Zdarsky will be leading the writing duties and will also feature stories not just about Batman, but many of the characters from the Batman universe. The Joker is a new book spinning out of Infinite Frontier by James Tynion, who is also the current writer of Batman. In this, the Joker is now the most wanted man in the world, and he is on the run from James Gordon. This issue will also feature a backup story about the new character Punchline, and this is a can't-miss book for Joker fans. In addition to these Batman classic stories, there's also going to be a few other books that are launching with a new #1, such as Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn, and Teen Titans Academy. There's also a 10-part series coming out about Swamp Thing. Starting with Justice League number 55, the world-famous Brian Michael Bendis is taking over the writing helm of the marquee team book for DC Comic Books. This is a typical Justice League lineup, though we've also added the newest DC powerhouse of Naomi and the villainous Black Adam. I'm, for one, really excited to see what Bendis brings to this. He had a historic run on the Avengers, and so I'm really, really excited about what he's going to do here with this Justice League book. Lastly, for fans of Superman, we have a 6-part prestige format book called Superman Red and Blue. This series will have a main story by Academy Award-winning writer John Ridley, who famously wrote 12 Years a Slave, and will feature multiple stories in each of these books. This will be a very cool book for readers and I'm sure collectors who enjoy wonderful art. Now it's time for some seriously cool titles coming out from Marvel Comics. Spinning out of the King in Black comes an ongoing series for Beta Ray Bill. This book is very cool because Daniel Warren Johnson will be both writing and doing the art for the book. In this book, Beta Ray Bill is in search of a new weapon since he lost the Stormbreaker. He will now have to face an awesome foe, the nullified Fing Fang Foom, in order to do so. Alien finally makes its debut at Marvel Comics. With the release of the new Alien covers in January, we have a brand new piece of Alien content from the House of Ideas, written by Eisner-nominated writer Philip Kennedy Johnson, who did The Last God from the DC Black Label, and art from the incomparable Salvador Larroca, who famously did Invincible Iron Man, and of course, who can't forget his run on Darth Vader. This is a can't-miss comic book. Carnage is always popular at the shop, so this newest title, Carnage, Black, White, and Blood, should also be very popular. This is a 4-part miniseries that will be filled with incredible horror tales involving Carnage, with stories by Donny Cates and art by Sarah Pichelli. This book is in the fashion of Wolverine, Black, White, and Blood as well, which features black and white art with red highlights. Usually those highlights involve blood. I imagine with Carnage, you can imagine that, he'll probably be drawn in red, and it'll look really cool with the black and white stark contrast. A couple of other miniseries that are going to be worth checking out are Silk, which is a 5-part series, and America Chavez, Made in the USA. Both of these characters are seeing a lot of movement on the secondary market, probably just because of predictions that they're going to be involved in movies or television shows. So if you want to get ahead of people in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, definitely check out these miniseries that Marvel is coming out with. Lastly, I wanted to put a little focus on a book called Demon Days XMen. This is a one-shot that is also a prestige format book by the up-and-coming artist Peach Momoko. She's gotten a lot of attention for her covers that she does, And so I'm really excited to see her interiors and a book that's actually created by her as a writer. Um, and it's weird. It's a one shot, but it also appears to be part of a 5-part series that's going to be coming out quarterly. I think for most collectors, this is a can't miss thing because people are eating up those Peach Momoko variant covers. And I think this is going to be a good one for X-Men fans because it's going to be kind of an alternate take on X-Men stories. So make sure you ask your stores for this book. Now it's time for some of my favorite books, which are the creator-owned titles. Coming from Dark Horse Comics, we have a really cool looking book called Orphan and the Five Beasts, an epic kung fu tale coming from the mind of James Stokoe, who does both the art and writing. It should be very exciting. His art looks spectacular and is highly detailed. I, for one, am super excited for more kung fu comic books. If you also haven't had the chance to check out Firepower, definitely do that from Robert Kirkman. Image has got a blockbuster comic book coming out called Nocterra, which is written by fan favorite Scott Snyder, with art by Tony S. Daniel and Timu Mori. This is a story that takes place in a world that has been plunged into eternal darkness and has turned all living creatures into horrific shades. The comic follows Valentina Val Riggs, who is a ferryman who transports goods and people with a heavily illuminated 18-wheeler truck. I'm sure this will appeal to fans of death metal, witches, and Batman. Also from Image, we have a new series called Shadecraft. Identified as a horror action-adventure book, it follows a teenager named Zadie Liu who is afraid of her own shadows because she believes that they are coming to life and trying to kill her. Once she realizes that the shadows are actually trying to kill everybody, well, that's when the story kind of gets really interesting. This is from the same creative team of a book called Skyward, which was a really sweet book. So definitely check out the art and see if it's worth reading. Boom Studios also continues to release new and exciting creator-owned books and is releasing a new Grant Morrison comic book called Proctor Valley Road. It's another horror book, and this is a 5-part miniseries that follows teenagers fighting monsters in the 1970s. This has a lot of great vibes, kind of feels a little bit like Paper Girls and Die, and it's by Grant Morrison. Hopefully it's a book that is a little more tangible. He can get a little, he can be a little far off sometimes, so we're hoping he can be a little more back to earth in this book. Lastly, we have a Firefly, brand new verse, which is a story that takes place 20 years after the events of Firefly. It follows Emma, the daughter of Wash and Zoe. Firefly comic books have always been pretty popular at the shop, especially the Firefly fans, and this is a really good opportunity for people who like Firefly but haven't been reading all these season 8s and all these different new books. It's a good way, I think, to kind of hop back into that Firefly universe, only it's jumped into the future. I can see this being something like Legacy for Star Wars, which was a very cool title, by the way. So this could be, the Legacy version of Firefly. So definitely, if you like Firefly, definitely check this out. It's got a whole new cast of characters and new adventures, and there's supposed to be some shocking new surprises. I hope you like this month in preview. There are a lot of great new titles coming out, a lot of horror books, which is kind of interesting. It's always exciting. I'm usually not a guy that sits around and promotes horror books, but I think there is a little place for that in the market. Make sure you let us know if you'd like them added to your hold file. Previews happen 2 months in advance, so make sure you always give us or your local shop a heads up. You can always check out these titles in detail in a Previews magazine, on Previews World, or on DC Connect. So let us know what books you think sound awesome. Was there anything that I missed? Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel, where we will continue to produce new content about your favorite hobbies. I hope you guys have a slamming good day, and thanks for tuning in.